Hello, welcome to another YouTube live. Here we are on Monday at 7 European time, Central European time. And every Monday I'm here and doing a little live and answering some questions. So if you have any particular questions on specific topics, then you can just pop them in the comments section for the videos. And I'm always checking the comments and responding. So if there's anything in particular you'd like me to talk about or any questions that you have, then you can pop them there. And these weekly sessions are sessions where you can tune in, you can connect and ask all the questions, and also have the opportunity to pick up on some useful tips and tools in navigating anxiety, emotions, learning about the mind, the unconscious mind, NLP, the difference between the conscious, the unconscious, and all the different filters that we have that have a huge impact on the reality that we experience. And also creating change, so bringing in some dance and creative arts into that. I don't do any dance sessions on these lives specifically, though I do talk about topics that we cover on creating change. And also we have the expansion messages as well. So there's so many things that I'm sharing every week. And if you're not sure about what the expansion messages are, or if you have, if you're wondering about all the other things, you can go back and check all the other lives. I've been doing this since the beginning of the year. So there are many different episodes that you can, or different live video replays that you can check into, and on all different topics. And the main purpose of these and the main focus of all of this is to really bring some useful tips and tools in navigating the ups and downs of life. And I bring in things that have helped me personally, things that have helped my clients, and it's all about falling back in love with ourselves and life. And today I have something special here. So some of you may know these already, the Creating Change cards. So I've got a card deck, if you didn't know. And these cards I created quite a few years ago, and many people love them. If you have a card deck and you haven't downloaded the PDF, there's a free PDF on my website that you can download if you have the card deck, and it goes through all the different ways that you can use this deck and the different spreads and the different ways that you can benefit from this. And there's some different questions in there as well if you want to get your journal out and really make it into a process. So that's there for you to use. And I thought today that I will pick some messages. And if you're joining live, then you get to have a personal message. If you want a card, you can pop it in the comment section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick 3 cards. So these were cards that I created after posting so many things on social media for many years. I've been doing this for 10 years. Can you believe, at the time of recording this? And I was posting many things on Instagram, on Facebook, lots of different quotes and things that were coming up. It was, I mean, occasionally I would post things from, like, quotes from other people, but everything was quotes and phrases and sentences that were coming through my own practice and coming through the work that I was doing. And there were so many. And I was like, this would be a really great thing to have as a card deck. So you can just pick a card, like if you have a specific question in mind. For example, there's something in your life that you're just like, oh yeah, I'm not sure whether to do that, or I don't know, or I'm feeling stuck or challenged in a particular area. You can pick a card and see what message comes up. And these are reflection cards. These are cards just to give some little prompts to reflect on a particular challenge. And then maybe it gives some insight onto how to handle that. And also, many people who have used these cards have picked one for the day, for example, or like if they're like, okay, I want to start the day and pick a card for the day, or end the day with a card and just have a reflective message to consider. So I will pick 3 cards now for us. And if anyone didn't know, so you can probably tell by my background, all these paintings behind. I'm also an artist and I paint. And if anyone didn't know that the background of these cards, that's a little snippet of one of my paintings. So I like to bring in the artwork everywhere. So I'll pick 3 cards for today. One card, another card, and another card. Okay, so I have 3. So if you're watching the replay, you can think whether you want card 1, 2, or 3. You can mentally decide now, and then that's a way that you get a card that you've picked. So those who are joining live can get one picked live if you put a comment in the comment section. Though those who are watching the replay, you can decide now. Do you want 1, 2, or 3? I will read out all of them. Though if you think about it now, what do you feel drawn to? 1, 2, or 3? You can pick now. And then I'll share. So card number 1. Card number 1 here. Understanding, or simply the intention to understand, can be a wonderful step towards greater compassion. So understanding is the gateway towards compassion, and sometimes by asking questions, by listening, by getting curious, we can opening up a space to understand situations and understand people. And that's how we can bring in some deeper compassion in that situation. Often it's when we assume, we judge, and we're connected to our ego perspective, like our identity and our beliefs, and like, I'm right, and this is how the world is, and this is how I see things. That's not when we're connected to compassion. Not all the time. I mean, can be, but not all the time. Often it's when we're so holding on to our identity. I was talking about this with a friend the other day and saying that so for example, I had a conversation quite recently with someone who was so fixated on their beliefs and so fixated on their beliefs that they didn't even want to hear any other perspective from anyone. And I was talking about it with my friend, and I was saying that when we're so fixated on our beliefs, like how can we ever learn anything new if we think we know everything already? We can't. It's like if we think we know everything already and what we believe about the world, that's how it is, and our beliefs are correct, and we know everything about everything, we won't learn anything new because we're completely closed to learning anything new. So when we open up to curiosity and we set the attention to understand, or simply getting curious about what possibly could be happening in a particular challenge, or with a particular emotion, like what's the message there, or in a particular relationship or situation, then that can open up wonderful insights, and it can also open up doors to compassion. So that's card number 1. It's probably backwards on on the video. That's card number 1. So card number 2. If you decided card number 2, here's the message. Any challenges you face remind you of your values, invite you to reconnect, and to show you your immense strength within. So when we're facing challenges, it can feel pretty overwhelming at times. It can feel pretty difficult. And what this card is talking about is that in every challenge, every situation, there's an opportunity, and there's a gift, and there's an insight. And often these challenges, they can feel very testing, though what happens is that they show us our incredible strength. Like all the challenges that you've experienced so far in your life, like all the past challenges, everything that, all the difficulties that you've been through in the past, you've survived 100% of them because you're still here. I know it might feel like some of them you might have come out a little bit vulnerable or a little bit bruised, though there's this incredible strength within. And this is part of the gift of these challenges, that they show us, they remind us of that. It's like, wow, yeah, actually I went through that and I'm still here. I'm still standing. So if you're going through a challenge at the moment, and just know that there's an opportunity there. It might not feel like a gift at the time. It might feel incredibly stressful or overwhelming or difficult, or whether that's a heartbreak or there may be like strong emotions there. There's an opportunity there to really make the most of that, and it's showing you your immense strength. Like life is inviting you to expand in one way, whatever way that is. That's up to you to see that, and to really get curious about what way that is. But life is inviting you to expand, and yeah, there's incredible strength within. And often I say that it takes a very courageous soul to be on this planet right now, and you are walking with so many others. So card number 3, if you pick number 3, things don't need to be perfect to be appreciated. What are you grateful for right now? Tap into the feeling of gratitude. So there's 2 things here. So first of all, things don't need to be perfect to be appreciated. Often I talk about Sagrada Familia, the iconic church building that's in the center of Barcelona. And it's still a work in progress. It's been a work in progress for years, and they're still building it. And even though it's being built, there's scaffolding, there's builders, like everything is under construction, it's still being appreciated by so many millions of people all the time. There's so many tourists there. And this is the thing. It's not completed. It's not completely perfect. There are things half done, half built, half finished, things that need to be tidied up. But it's being appreciated. So this goes for ourselves as well. Often the inner critic or that perfectionist side wants to have everything perfect. Doesn't need to be that. It's more about the experience. It's more about the connection. It's more about the intention, rather than having everything complete and perfect and everything is exactly how the mind thinks it should be. No, it's the focus on the experience, focus on the connection, focus on the intention. And then the second part of that is talking about the gratitude. So what are you grateful for right now? What little big things in your life are you grateful for? So I often start all of my workshops with this, like say your name and something that you're grateful for. And it's something that is just, yeah, it's wonderful to remember these little big things, like whether that's the smell of a flower, or whether that's the smell of coffee, or whether that's seeing blue sky, whether that is hearing your favorite song, whether that's a hug with a loved one, whether that's laughing at some comedy, whether that is a pet. You can probably hear the dogs in the background, the neighbors' dogs. So there are many, many different little big things that people find joy in. So what little thing are you grateful for? And it can literally be, oh, I've got a chair to sit on, or I've got air to breathe. Even if it is a tiny, tiny part of your experience, or a tiny, tiny part of you, like, oh, I'm grateful for this finger or one hand or an eye, like whatever that is. Because all those things help us to experience things. And the important part of this in the card, it talks about tap into the feeling of gratitude. So the feeling of gratitude is important. It's talking about the feeling, because it's all very well to list things from the mind and say, oh, I'm grateful for this and this and this and this. Often there are people talk about gratitude lists and having a practice of like being grateful for things and writing things down every day. And often I find it's better to just pick one thing, add detail, because it's the details that help us to connect to the feeling. And it's the feeling that is the important part of that. It's the feeling why we're doing the gratitude practice in the first place. That's why we want to do it. And the more we connect to that feeling, the more we will continue to connect to it and see even more little big things that we're grateful for. So those were the 3 cards. I'll read them out again. So card number 1 was understanding, or simply the intention to understand, can be a wonderful step towards greater compassion. So understanding ourselves, understanding our emotions, any shadow parts, understanding others, understanding challenging situations, just setting the intention to get curious. What can we learn from that? Just to recap, card number 2, any challenges you face remind you of your values, invite you to reconnect and show you your immense strength within. And card number 3, to recap, things don't need to be perfect to be appreciated. What are you grateful for right now? Tap into the feeling of gratitude. So those are 3 creating change cards, 3 messages. These cards are actually on sale. So if you are interested, they're €15 per pack. And depending where you are in the world, that if you're close to Barcelona, if you come to any of my in-person workshops, then just let me know. I can bring a pack along for you, and then you can pay me in person. If you're elsewhere in the world, absolutely, I do send them worldwide, though obviously postage and shipping costs and all of that, and custom fees, if there are custom fees, will be added on top. That's an extra expense. So they're 15 euros per pack, and there's loads. You can see how many messages there are, and it's a really wonderful thing to have, and you could just pick something just to reflect on different areas of your life, or just for fun, just to get a little. Also, these make really wonderful gifts as well. I've had many people buying these as gifts, and I've also had many teachers buying these as well, like people using these with their students, whether that's students learning English or whether that is children learning like different vocabulary and just practicing different things. So yeah, the many teachers use these as well. So that was a little creating change card insight, and I will be back here same time next week with more tips and tools. I really love to hear like your feedback on things and your topics, the requests that you have. Like if there's a specific emotion or if anxiety has been something that's been challenging for you. This is something that I've worked with for many years, helping people with anxiety, and something that I've gone through myself as well. So I have plenty of experience with that. It's 10 years, more, well, personally more, though professionally 10 years supporting people with anxiety. So if that's something that you're struggling with, I'd love to hear your feedback. I put a link in the description of this video. So if you're watching it live or the replay, that you can see that there's a link, and it's a Google form, and it's time sensitive. So if you're watching this in the future, the giveaway may not be valid anymore. Though if you want to give feedback, you can still give feedback, because I will just leave the form open. though by a specific date, which is in the actual form in April, I will be picking 10 people that I will give a free mini session to. So you'll have 20 minutes with me, and we can just work through a quick belief or something that is coming up for you that we can shift the perspective and see it in a different light. So if there are any limiting beliefs or emotions or anything like that, we can work through something in 20 minutes. Obviously, it's not a full session, but I'm giving away 10 little mini sessions to 10 different people. So each person will receive one. So that's 10 sessions I'm giving away, and it'll be split up. So one session per person for 10 different people. So if you're watching it in time, so it hasn't gone past April 2023, then you might be within the chance that you can grab that session when you fill out the form. And if the date has gone past, you're still more than welcome to give your feedback. This really helps me to bring more relevant topics of interest, like things that you want to learn about. Like, do you want to learn about self-sabotage? Do you want to learn about what to do when anxiety crops up? Do you want to know how to release anger? Do you want to know how to find hidden limiting beliefs that might be blocking you in some way? Do you want to know how to start embodying things a little bit more and come back into the body? Do you want to learn the power of creative arts and well-being with that? Like all of that, there's so many different topics within the general topic of creating change. So yes, please do ask away. And I'll leave it there. So I will connect with you again next week. Same time, 7 Central European time. So that is 6 UK time, and that is about 10 a.m. Pacific time, I think, in the States. And of course, the replay is here. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for connecting. Thank you for being you and continuing to show up for yourself. And if you'd like further support, I do one-on-one sessions. So all the information is on my website, and you can find out what I do with the clarity packs and the soul art sessions, and really like diving in deep into your personal blueprint of for this life, like looking at numerology and the soul art sessions, and really gaining clarity on why you're here, what you're here to do, and really like finding clarity within that, because so many people, that this is something that's been coming up on the feedback form so far, is that there's a lot of people saying like, I just feel lost, I feel confused, I don't know what to do, I don't know what I'm meant to be doing with my life. So that's the whole purpose of the clarity pack. It is 3 sessions to really help you gain clarity and start moving forward in a direction that feels heart-centered and soul-led, and you're living life from your truth and your full like embodied essence. So if you want more information about that, you can find that on my website, www.emmabradford.net. So thank you for watching. I'll tune in again next week. Wishing you a wonderful week. Much love.